Aunt Eloise has a friend named Jill Johnson, who runs the famous Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City. The Grand Marshal this year is Greg Willow, a soap opera hunk who quickly falls for Bess. Last time Bess was in New York, she had a romance with soap opera hunk Rick Arlen. It sounds like it's impossible for Bess to visit New York without a gorgeous soap star trying to date her. No wonder she likes New York so much. Argo Funk Book Review. Argo Funk Book Review. Bess and Nancy get a free sample of the store's exclusive perfume, which has not been released yet. Nancy's keen detective skills note that everyone has to swipe their ID card to get inside the building. That's so high tech. Bess accidentally trips and drops some items from her purse. This is the wrong time for her to be clumsy. The culprit steals her things and uses them to frame her. The culprit starts by blowing up a cat balloon. And by blowing up a balloon, I mean the balloon explodes, not that the culprit's inflating the balloon. The explosion is so bad, several people are injured and the building is evacuated. Nancy and Bess go on a double date with Greg and another soap opera hunk. Greg invites them to a magazine interview, where the beauty editor hires the women as models, complete with a free makeover. Wow, this is turning out to be the best vacation ever! The dream is ruined when the police find Bess's sunglasses at the crime scene. They demand to question her. Someone breaks into the cosmetics lab at night, and Jill officially asks Nancy to investigate. The prime suspect is the store's biggest competitor, Lewis Clark. Jill's assistant Neil is also a suspect because he used to be in charge of the parade. Maybe he's mad about being demoted. Nancy questions Lewis Clark. He kicks her out of his office. The same thing happens later on when she questions Mr. Langley, the cutthroat store owner who once fired his sons for disagreeing with him. Langley wants the parade canceled to save money. The culprit strikes again by copying Bess's signature. They use it to steal half of the parade costumes. Now the parade won't have clowns. Gee, that sounds like it would make the parade better, not worse. Aunt Eloise, Nancy, and Bess break into Lewis Clark's office that night. Bess is in trouble with the police because she's been linked to 2 crimes. Maybe she should not join Nancy in breaking and entering? They discover Lewis Clark is the one who broke into the cosmetics lab. He stole the formula for the store's exclusive perfume. When confronted, Clark brags that he's so rich and powerful he can break any laws he wants. He promises any attempt to bring him to justice will result in a long, expensive lawsuit. Fortunately, he's bluffing. When the store does threaten to sue, Clark instantly breaks down and gives up without a fight. Greg starts to avoid Bess because she's a police suspect. Bess cries over him in the bathroom. They have a large public argument when he next sees Bess. I suppose big romance drama is second nature to soap opera stars. Aunt Eloise gets a phone call saying Greg wants to meet Bess at parade headquarters in the middle of the night, and she has to come alone. If that sounds like a trap, that's because it is a trap. Bess is caught red-handed by Jill and the police near an unconscious guard and some slashed balloons. Fortunately, the door has an automatic 15-minute alarm. Since the culprit activated the alarm, and Bess only arrived 5 minutes ago, she must be innocent. I'm still a little mad at Bess for staying in the building for 5 minutes instead of leaving the instant she saw the sabotage. Jill remembers there's a log of every single time an ID card is used. Nancy checks it. She discovers the culprit has been using a stolen ID card to enter the building. Greg comes crawling back to Bess because he still likes her. He only broke up with her because of his image. He's now decided to follow his heart by taking Bess out on one final date before she leaves the city. Nancy does a stakeout the night before the parade. She sees the culprit has cut the ropes to the cat balloon, so it will float away into the sky. I don't know why the culprit hates this particular cat balloon so much. Nancy saves the balloon in time, and the culprit knocks her out from behind. The mystery solution clicks into place when Nancy realizes the person who knocked her out was wearing Neil's exclusive cologne. The ID logbook confirms Neil is the culprit because he used the stolen ID card every single time he entered the building. Greg goes missing. Nancy tries calling Bess, only to learn Bess never came home last night. I'm a little surprised Aunt Eloise did not tell Nancy about this earlier. You'd think Aunt Eloise would have been a little concerned when the clock struck midnight and Bess was still gone. Nancy rushes to Neil's apartment. She finds all the costumes he stole, along with a newspaper article about a building demolition today. Why are they doing construction work on Thanksgiving? It's a national holiday. Nancy and Aunt Eloise arrive 4 minutes before the building is set to explode. After a frantic search, they find Bess and Greg tied up. They escape from the building with seconds to spare. They return to the parade, where Neil is quickly captured and arrested. As a reward for solving the mystery, Nancy and Bess get to sit with Greg in the lead float. The end. Post-book follow-up. Aunt Eloise should have been given a reward too. She ran inside an exploding building. That was probably the best part of the book. I think this book had one too many characters. I feel like Jules could have been removed. Reporter Eileen Nash could have been removed too. Or maybe replaced with Brenda Carlton. I liked how Jill occasionally argued with Nancy over Bess. It felt different to have the victim fight with Nancy. This book could definitely pass as a sequel to Stay Tuned for Danger, with all the drama of Bess dating a soap opera hunk. It certainly works to have Lewis Clark be a secondary culprit who committed an unrelated crime at the same time as the sabotage. I felt like the sabotage in this book was a little aimless, because the culprit's trying to sabotage parade balloons. The balloons are not inflated until the night before, under the watch of security and police. So the culprit doesn't have any real opportunities for balloon sabotage until the end. I'm giving this book the average score. For being a pretty typical entry in the series, it's definitely by the numbers. I think a third of it is love drama that's unrelated to the mystery. Maybe fans of balloon parades will like this book better than I did. I hate to say it, but maybe Bess should have been detained by the police for a day. That would have given the case some more urgency. I give Nancy Drew Files number 77, Danger on Parade, a 5 out of 10.